Welcome to another episode of the Two for One podcast. I'm your host, Dion, and alongside me, joining me on this Monday night, fresh off of witnessing the spat at the Spectrum, Musa Diabate and Jalen Dern going at it. My fellow co-hosts are here, joining me live from the home state of the great Danny DeVito, the man, the myth, the Nate. Mr. Taylor, how goes it on this frigid Monday night?
Probably like the 47th person I'd think of when you talk about people from New Jersey. Like, there's so many better options that you could have gone with. I mean,
Well, look, I got to mix it up here. I got to keep it fresh. I can't. We've already used Thomas Edison. Who else
I
is
feel like
going to
Bruce
go?
Springsteen is like at the.
Now
I don't even
I
not even a
considered
Bruce
him. I
Springsteen
considered
guy,
him
but like
too.
Bruce Springsteen's up there.
I was
Jalen
saving.
Brunson, Carl Anthony Town. Oh, actually, no.
I think we've used Cat. I was saving Bruce, but either way it goes. How you doing?
I'm good. That was a fun fight. I know I kind of reacted like it was. You guys actually thought I was faking it because I know you didn't have the
Yeah,
game on.
yeah.
I
The
was that
reaction
was
was that crazy.
genuinely like holy crap. Yeah, Dern just fingering his face. That sounded weird. Anyways, hi Mitch.
Martha Stewart's from Jersey? What?
Yeah.
That's
Well, that
crazy.
that I did not know.
There's a
But
lot of people from Jersey, man.
Shout out Nutley, bro.
Nutley, New Jersey?
That's where it says she's from.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true.
Nutley's down south, I think. I think that's you guys wouldn't know anyways.
I have no idea. But joining us from the Canadian side of Niagara Falls, where the head of Apple Daily was just sentenced to 20 years in prison earlier today, it is my main man, Mitch. Mr. Sider, how are you, sir?
That man's gonna die in prison. Anyways, no, I'm fantastic. We're getting the second generation, the second iteration of Malice in the Palace in Charlotte, and I'm gonna get an all-star replacement. So things are pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it feels like maybe, we'll see what happens, but it feels probably like a
No,
one,
no,
maybe a two
no.
game
Duran,
suspension. So,
Duran put his hands on another man's
Oh, sick.
face.
Miles Bridges also just got ejected, so my bet just got completely and utterly fucked.
Null and void, brother.
yeah, doesn't it? Yeah, it's just void, right? So you don't lose
No,
anything.
because it's the third quarter. So he had to wait till the third quarter for this to happen.
Of
Isaiah
course.
Stewart, I think, also just got ejected. I can't hear exactly with the sound
Well, yeah, he
on.
left the bench. He just sprinted off the bench, so he's done. He's gone.
Yeah, I think same with Bridges. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I
That's what you
hate
get
that
for
piece of
gambling in the first place.
don't gamble at all. This is because the Super Bowl. I had never gambled. The Super Bowl made me gamble because of all the ads
Mm.
I saw, and I was like,
Mm.
"Oh my God."
Just have to
Now hold
gamble.
on. Now hold on. Let me devil's advocate. You ever stepped into the casino when that oxygen just
Okay,
hits
we're
your
not
lungs,
doing that.
dude?
Mitch. We're not doing that.
All right, fellas, we talk about the NBA over here. And now that the trade deadline has come and gone, I wanted to take a moment on today's episode to evaluate which moves that were made last week that we actually think are going to have a tangible impact on the rest of the season. So I think we saw, a lot of the bottom feeders in the league make some moves, a la the Wizards, the Pacers, etc. We'll see if those guys actually end up playing a ton of games, and we'll get into that sort of discussion in the second half of today's episode. But I tasked each of us with determining which trade we think will have the biggest influence over the results of this season's playoffs. Now, there weren't a ton of trades that went down. I think the NBA did tweet something out, some sort of graphic about how this was like the most active trade period or whatever. I don't know, but didn't feel like there was a ton going on. So there's definitely some potential for us to all have the
I
same
feel like there's a
answer.
lot going on. I think you're smoking something.
Okay, well,
There were plentiful of trades in quantity, but not quality.
that's what I mean. So there's definitely potential for us to all have the same answer here, which would end up making this a pretty short segment, but we'll see. So, Mitch, I'll have you get us started here by letting us know which transaction you think will have the biggest impact to the results
We
of this
don't.
year's
No,
playoffs.
no. Mitch is not allowed to speak, bro. We
Ah,
are not doing that today.
why is that?
I don't know. I have no
I
idea.
get
Go
I
ahead,
get
Mitch.
coffee grounds and
He actually,
eggshells for
because
my
he cut his
dinner.
hair,
Yeah,
he
I was
also
gonna
his
say he shaved his
hair,
head and now he
his
has no rest.
speaking privileges also went with it. He lost
Crazy
his
work.
his
God
upgrade.
forbid
He
he
has to.
donates his hair to a good cause and you want to shit on him for it.
I sit in the
Crazy
corner
man.
and I have like a whiteboard and I'm just like,
Yeah, it just turns into a mime. So yeah,
but
let us know, Mitch.
so ironically, you slid the Pacers in there with your bottom feeders of the league trade, and I dare say they have a B plus at the deadline in terms of getting off the books a guy who wasn't going to fit you financially long term and getting your Miles Turner replacement in Zubats. I, of course, am talking about the Ivasi Zubats, Kobe Brown, Ben Mathurin, and the weird protected picks
Hmm.
that the Pacers sent out. Now, before we go anywhere with why the players make sense, have you ever seen a protected first so weird and specific with
No.
how?
I've
So
seen situations where it's like protected within ranges, but the other part that is crazy to me is like if it doesn't end up conveying to the Clippers this year, it becomes an unprotected first 5 years from now.
yeah,
I've
so
never heard of anything like that before.
so if the pick falls between 5 and 9 this year, I'll just keep it super simple. The Clippers get that pick, but players between 5 and 9. So those players could be maybe Caleb Wilson, Mikael Brown Jr., Nate, maybe no, not actually. My big board's all over the place, but
Yeah.
there's some quality players in 5 to 9.
Hmm.
If it's 10 to 20, however, it compounds itself into basically the Sam Presti parlay into don't worry about this year, we got next. But even crazier than that is if that one doesn't convey, 2031
Hmm.
first rounder ends up in Clippers' hands. Who the hell sat there and figured this
Yeah.
out is
How did they
beyond
get to
me.
that conclusion? Did
I
they
I would
also
like I
go
would like
ahead?
to know who in the Pacers front office was like, we're not going to give you an unprotected first. And then they were like, okay, what about a lottery protected? And they're like, what about 5 to 9? But we like our guy at 10, so fuck you. But
Yeah.
hold on. Half a decade later, you can have that first, because by then, who cares? Like, I have no idea. I will say, I will say, it is interesting for the Pacers to be so gung ho with like the buyer's power because these aren't invaluable, like these aren't non-fake firsts. Like these
Yeah.
are actual
Absolutely.
Yeah,
tangible
they're
picks.
like legit picks.
And for the Clippers, it's great to capitalize on what I would say Zubac's premier value should be.
Yeah.
I
This
don't
definitely feels like
know.
selling high. Yeah. Yeah.
This is probably what I would say as like the Clippers realized that their last couple weeks weren't, you know, it's not real tangible wins. It was like, okay, we had a nice run. Let's not kid ourselves on what this roster actually is. They give themselves a bit of a bridge between post Kawhi and doing like a full rebuild because potentially they're adding a lottery pick next to an already young Matherin who is ready to take the reins whenever Kawhi's knees eventually
Yeah, who's
short
already a
circuit.
guy that's averaging like 18 a game right now that can step in and also help them win in the present day if they want to.
Right.
Which is it to his credit, Zubats is good and he is a very good fit alongside Halliburton. I will say I think the Clippers actually won this side of the trade. I think
Mm.
that's it
I
might not be a
agree.
hot it might not be like a hot
Well,
take.
because I think the thing is too is that they looked a lot better without Vucevic or without Vucevic. Whoa, without without Zubac at a lot of times since his return from the initial injury.
Yeah.
And now I'm not gonna say that Vucevic. What the fuck?
Lock in.
What? Why am I calling him Vucevic? Zubac. That actually is kind of racist. Is that racist?
White European big man.
Sorry. Um, Zubats is a guy who's really good, but I think when you have that kind of, you're in the position that the Clippers are in, where even if this roster's good, I think Mitch is right. Like they're not kidding themselves about this roster probably going and competing for a championship, even if Kawhi is playing at 110% of what he can be. There's just not enough supporting cast, especially with Harden gone now. I think those two moves to go towards the future was giving something the Clippers haven't had in a long time, which is hope for the future. Or not a long time, but I mean a few years since the
Yeah.
Kawhi Paul George thing really started unraveling with all the injuries. I think Darius Garland and Mathurin is a really nice two-man punch that you can have going forward with or without Kawhi. Um, Matherin's had a really weirdly similar start to his career as RJ Barrett has. I don't know if you thought about that. Probably not. They were traded. He was just traded in his fourth season. RJ was traded in his fifth season. Both Canadians picked in the top seven. 18 point per game ish scores when they were traded. Put in a situation where they're now kind of going to be more prioritized, where they were competing and being a contributing piece to a team that was had championship aspirations, like RJ did similarly on the Knicks. I think it's just a bit of a weird parallel to be drawn.
Sure. Yeah, you got there. It wasn't one that came to mind immediately
It
for
was.
me.
It's not
You found
perfect.
you
It's not
found
a.
a common thread there. Okay, sure, I'll give it to you. Okay.
I mean, to actually piggyback onto the Mr. Matherin take that Mr. Taylor just gave, I actually kind of agree. The archetype of RJ and Matherin could be, you could kind of look at it as inverse. Matherin had a lot of freedom in his sophomore year. He was actually reluctantly not included in any of the Siakam trade talks, which was hilarious because they were like, he's our guy next to Hallie. Now he's not.
Yeah.
Now he might, big asterisks here, he might have a bigger career trajectory on the Clippers in terms of what he can bring to the table. I don't think he's ever going to be like that 25 a game guy, but he could very comfortably hover around like 22, 5 and 4,
Yeah, I like
like
that.
something around there with like decent efficiency. And again, he's playing next to Garland. I would say 1.5 tiers behind Halliburton in terms of an actual creator for setting the table for his teammates, but no snuff in terms of getting the ball where you want it.
Hmm.
The Clippers might not have like a direct like immediate passing of the torch from Kawhi to those two because
They
it's like a kind
could.
of a two for one.
They could though, and that's like where it's. Yes, the two for one pun. I get it.
All right.
I think though you could have a fast turnaround if Garland and Mathurin are, what they are supposed to be or what they were supposed to be at a point where Garland returns to that all-star level point guard that we've already seen out of him. Like Garland's only question mark really is the toe. Like if he gets that toe back and right, I'm pretty confident Darius Garland returns to being an all-star level point guard. And if you put a 20 plus point per game scorer next to him in Mathurin, which I think he could become, he's floating around 18. That's like a really nice 1-2 punch to start things off, and they already have some experience. So I think, although they're not going to go and win any playoff series in the West, I think there's a world where they're still fighting for a play-in once Kawhi transitions out of there, especially depending on what they get for Kawhi and once the whole situation is resolved. If they do end up trading him for more pieces, they've set themselves up in a position where now, though, they have options for the first time in a while. Like they have not ever had options under the Kawhi and PG era because they've been locked into, okay, we have to do everything we can to just win a championship. Now they don't have to do that as much. Whereas if they don't win a championship with Kawhi, which they're not going to do, if they don't win a lot of games, they can just be like, all right, we're going to now move into this next era of Clippers basketball, which is, I think, exciting for Clippers fans. All
Yeah, they
five of
finally
them.
have flexibility for the first time since bringing in Kawhi and PG.
Having
And
an actual future
yeah,
since 2021 is fantastic.
yeah. And I honestly think like even in the short term, like if Garland does get healthy, I think him paired with Kawhi makes a ton of sense too. Like
Yeah.
I think that's a great pairing there. So yeah, they've got some options. Now I gotta ask you guys something because I can't decide what I think makes more sense. And we spent a lot of time on this, so I don't want to go too long. But what do you guys think came first? Like, do you think it was the
The
Clippers, like you
chicken.
guys were saying? The chicken, not the
Oh,
egg. Okay, cool.
sorry.
So was it the Clippers deciding, like you guys were saying, like, okay, this run has been cool, but like we know we're not winning a title, like let's sell high on Zoo, and as a result of that, James Harden decided to request a trade, or do you think that he decided he wasn't going to re-sign, and so Harden requested the trade, and then the Clippers go, okay, if we're getting rid of Harden, we might as well like rebuild this thing.
That's a I don't know who
I
called first.
think
Like, you're asking who called first?
Yeah, between the
I'm
Clippers
gonna
deciding to sell on Zoo versus Harden requesting a trade, like which move
I'm
Oh,
did
gonna
I
they
thought
go
you
go.
with?
meant like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say they knew they weren't gonna give Harden the money. They knew
Mm,
that they weren't about to give him a fat
okay.
paycheck. They were gonna be like, wait a minute, yeah, you're playing kind of cool, but we can shuffle the pieces around, and we know that we're not competing right now. So
Mm.
your age becomes a huge problem with the paycheck you want. I think they straight up they Ballmer probably sat in a room and was like, "This is the money we need you to take if this is what's going to happen," and he said no, and they were like, "Okay, like
Yeah.
And
goodbye."
the thing is, I think that's realistic to think because I don't look at the Clippers and go, wow, they're so mismanaged for as tough of a position as they were in just because they went all in with two generational players and then a third generational player in Harden, regardless of what you want to think with him. It made sense in theory, a lot of the moves they did, and it's not like they were actively sabotaging these. Like no one knew SGA was going to be SGA. Let's not like be fickle about it. Some people may have had an inkling that he was going to be an all-star. No one thought he was going to be a 30 plus point per game, 3, 4 seasons in a row MVP level player. If you did, you're probably
Sure.
lying. My
I've
point
been
is
like
that
three
I
times.
wouldn't be surprised if LA was like, yeah, we're just not giving Harden this money. We know we're not going to win
Yeah.
with him. He's kind of already shown us that we're not going to win with him. He's a great regular season player, but why not sell on him when they can still get something. And I think it was fine of them to go get back a young all-star caliber player. I see this as pretty much there was no losing situation here for LA because they weren't winning a championship
And
anyways.
Ballmer wasn't going to be stupid and try to
Yeah,
circumvent the
Ballmer.
cash
I think
mechanism.
No,
Ballmer
no, he
still
would
knows
never.
what
He
he's
would
doing as
never.
an owner. Where I feel confident in the Clippers to be able to turn it around and stay at least
Yeah, yeah.
competitive because
Like you were
as
saying before, like it's a string of logic with all the moves that they made. It all
yeah,
makes sense
exactly.
from the jump. Yeah.
I will
I think
to sorry, you got it. Go ahead.
I think we spent a lot of time
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
Zubac
just
and
wanted
Harden.
to
as far as
I,
Harden goes, like we all thought the Cavs were a second round exit, and we still do, right? Like that hasn't changed.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Sorry,
yeah.
Mitch, what were you gonna
Mitch,
say?
what were you
I
saying?
was to put my 2028 hot take in a lockbox and leave it under the cement for a couple of years. I
Okay.
think if Caleb Wilson does fall to the Clippers here, if they do convey that 5 to 9 pick, they're looking at a Western Conference Finals appearance in 2028. I am so
Hmm.
absolutely high on a
You love
potential
Caleb too?
trio. I am so high on Caleb as an individual.
Yeah,
I'm so high on Mathurin, Garland, and Wilson working as
that'd
a
be fun.
that is a bonkers core, and I think those three would just be such an entertaining team to watch. I don't know, Mr. Sherman, if you're too familiar with Wilson's game.
I'm just still dipping my toe. By next week, I'll have my full foot dipped into the water, but I'm just still getting
If I could
acclimated.
give you an elevator pitch,
Hmm.
imagine in your mind's eye a more raw version, but a more disciplined version of a young Kevin Garnett. Somebody who
Oh,
doesn't have the intangibles
oh,
to
we're
quite
throwing.
get there. Hold on, hold
Wow.
on. Again, you haven't watched the film. I'll let you have that reaction now. Somebody who has all of the pieces and tools to get there. It's just about putting the rolling pin to the dough and making it like an
Okay, well,
actual
well, let me
tangible
ask
piece.
you this because I remember being really high on Mobley and seeing a lot of KG comparisons there, but the biggest thing
Mhm.
was
I never
a little
understood. He
soft
never
spoken.
had
You know, if you look at
the
Mobley, he's not like, not the most tenacious fella I've ever run into in my
if
life. So what's
you
the scouting
if
report on Caleb Wilson there?
if Caleb Wilson and Evan Mobley were to meet on the street, Mobley would get bitched.
I
He would
don't
be
think I don't think
Mobley would cross the street in front of Caleb
Mobley
Wilson.
doesn't have. I think you could argue Caleb Wilson's offensive game is already deeper than Evan Mobley's
Hmm.
is.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Any before we get off of this trade, though, like, what do you think of this for the Pacers? Like, what does this do for Indiana for you guys? Because
I love it for the Pacers,
I
honestly.
don't
Like
think it's worth what they gave up.
it's a little
Genuinely,
risky. Yeah, the 2029 unprotected, and then we'll see. Like I think we'll have to evaluate this trade once that pick conveys or doesn't, you know?
To highball it, if this pick conveys, it's kind of a whiff from Indiana. If it doesn't convey, you're kind of laughing because you're adding a lottery talent and you've got Zubats right there
That's what I mean, yeah.
to be your Turner upgrade.
Hmm.
Um, stylistically, I think this makes a lot more sense because like Halliburton didn't have exactly a bruiser. Like he had Huff and Turner. Like it's not. And sorry, I said
my
Jackson. My bad. My bad.
my
Let me
only
get that again.
my only thing with that is that they are such a run and gun team, and they're so good at playing with pace that Zubac just doesn't fit into that at all. But hopefully that Halliburton's just good enough of a floor general that he can just make it work because he's that kind of um, maestro. But I don't know what we're exactly going to see from Halliburton, directly
Yeah.
coming off of his Achilles tear.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only aspect is like Zubac doesn't stretch the floor, which Turner, he provided a lot of value with that for them during their
The
finals run.
defense is going to be much
That's right.
better. That's
Everywhere else, like Zoo is just so much better. Like he's just such a better player in every other aspect of the game. So like
yeah. I'm not.
as
You're not
long as
going to
they
get any
got like if
arguments
they just
there.
find like a stretch four, like we'll see what like Obi Toppin's capable of next season. But like if they just put like a decent amount of
Is
spacing
he out for
around the
the
rest,
year?
I think so. I don't know. I mean,
Yes.
probably
He
with the state
he
of the
will
Pacers, but
will probably not be coming back. He doesn't have a timetable, and it's
yeah.
been
So
like
we'll see about that. But okay,
Watching
so
Ryan
we spent,
Kalkbrenner is so funny.
dude. He just like I know he's like I was only 7'2", but like
He
he
looks like
looks
he's
so much
glitching
bigger.
to the rim.
He looks like he's so much bigger than everyone else. I know he is, but like it just stands out so much.
He's like a huge 7'3".
That's right.
Like it's
Yeah, like he's enormous, man. Like, yeah, for sure. I like
Dion's
it.
really enamored by huge men.
Right. Anyway, we spent a lot of time talking about a trade that has going to have no impact on this year's playoffs. Definitely long term going into next season.
I
But
think mine has an
yes, Nate,
impact
go
on the
ahead.
playoffs. I'm going to talk about Ayo Dosunmu. We don't have to talk about really for the Bulls because we talked about a lot of that with Dave.
Right.
There's not too much to really, not a lot of in-depth analysis you can really do there. It's Chicago being Chicago. For the Timberwolves, he's had a rough first two games. Or not even rough, but like he's going to take a few minutes to get his feet wet and really
Right.
gel with this team. But I think once Io gets going, you have now your bench is more than just Nas reading a prayer because that's what Zach Lowe said the other day was that your bench can't be Nas reading a prayer every night. So I think either starting DiVincenzo, hopefully moving him to the bench once Io's ready to step into that starting point guard role once he gets comfortable with everything. He's such a good guy next to Ant because Ant loves to have the ball in his hand and Ant has improved so much as a passer, but he can also allow Ant to play off the ball more. And when Ant does have the ball in his hands, I would assume he's a 45% three-point shooter right now. He's a very good defender. He has size for the point guard position. He's a willing passer. It's just really a perfect fit, and they gave up essentially nothing for him because Rob Dillingham was not playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing of value to the Timberwolves. Like, they don't care about second round picks. They don't care about this guy Dillingham. Like, yeah, you got him for essentially nothing. And like you said, exactly the player that they needed. Exactly the player. Because all they really needed was just any other guard who was just good enough at handling the ball. Just anyone else just to take a little bit of pressure off. And that's exactly what Io is. He's not a natural point guard. He's not like a table setter type of guy. But that also means that it's not going to necessitate him being the one to bring the ball up every time up the court. Like he is totally comfortable playing that off ball guard spot. So yeah, him with Ant just makes so much sense. Like DiVincenzo's been great. I think he's very valuable for them. But now you have someone that, not as much as a proven shooter, but is shooting just as well this season, and I think is just a lot more capable
Well,
in other
yeah, I mean,
aspects of his game, especially defense.
DiVincenzo's definitely the better shooter because he his the difficulty of his shots and the
Yeah, right.
volume
He's
he's
more
taking is
proven. Like
different,
I
but
trust him more as a shooter, but
he's more of a point guard in the way that him and Dante are both combo guards, but Dante is 100% more of, a
right.
natural
Yeah,
two.
Dante's kind of like forced into a point guard
Dante's a
role.
two
Yeah.
that can play the point guard if you're desperate, but really, Io is a guy who can play either position comfortably.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I absolutely love it. That's actually the one I was gonna go with too. Like I think if you look at like the top, I don't know, 10 teams in the league, they were one of the few that actually like used picks to get better. Like I think the Celtics getting Vooch was you can kind of argue was a move to get better, kind of was a
A
move
lateral
for
move.
tax. Yeah, so you can kind of, but like the Timberwolves are the one team that like very clearly. I mean, you could say obviously the Harden Garland swap, but like
Mitch giggle.
if we talk about just like pure additions, like just using draft capital to get better, the Timberwolves were really the only team, unless I'm just forgetting someone. Like they were the only team. I guess the OKC used a pick to get McCain, so that'll count too. But
Yeah, I don't know
um,
if Jared McCain's making them better though in the short term by all that much either.
yeah. So like I look at like immediate win now
I
plus
think the biggest give up nothing to get something move was them.
yeah, 100%. Because like I say at this point where the Timberwolves are at in their timeline, like second round picks, like cool, like whatever. And then honestly,
Gambling or scratch offs for billionaires.
exactly, yeah. And even if Rob Dillingham does end up panning out in Chicago, it very clearly was just never going to happen in Minnesota. So
It
even if
was
like
yeah. You're not like oh, what if we kept Dillingham? It's like oh, if we kept Dillingham, he might have been out of the NBA in 2 years. So
yeah,
you know
and
you give him.
even if he did figure it out, it would have been too late anyway. Like it didn't really matter.
I'm
So
happy for him to get a reset in Chicago, but he also has 17 other point guards that he's going to be fighting for playing time with. So
yeah, I don't
sorry,
know.
I mean 18.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know
PG
exactly
only
how that'll
2K
go, but
rebuild
I do
Chicago.
think that's the right. It's the right
It's
kind
like
of spot for him to maybe pan
it's just
out.
like a click video. Rebuilding using only point
Oh,
guards.
That's Chicago right now. I to give you to give you some context, they're one of the only teams that I gave an A to Minnesota in terms of like the actual like what they went into the offseason or went into the trade deadline with when they came out of.
hmm
Not only do they really kind of address like okay, the Rob Dillingham experiment lasted 1.5 years. Yeah, all right, kind of a little bit of a stretch when it happened. Everybody was like, just wait, the vibes are there. Even if he does pan out in Chicago, if he reaches 99% of what Desomu immediately brings, they already won. Like they walk away with a player who potentially could even take another leap and is already better right now and fills the need that they need. Like there's no world where like, I guarantee Bleacher Report or some other page is going to be like, well, this is actually a B because what they came in and what they sent out. No, brother. Mike Conley, Leonard Miller, Dillingham in what, 3 seconds?
four
Like, come
seconds.
on. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
And they
Like,
got
you
Mike Conley
really,
back anyway. So like they shed Mike
yeah.
Conley's salary, but they still get to keep him on the team. They just lowered the tax
Like
bill. Like
if you look at this like the way the deadline went for Minnesota, you just went, damn, this is a team that realized they had a weakness, addressed it, and also somehow maintained all of their first round picks. So there we go. Good for them.
yeah, I don't know if they had necessarily any to trade anyway, but yeah, I mean, gave up nothing that is really gonna like they still have just as much flexibility. So yeah, good on them. That was a fantastic move, and I really feel like I'm glad you said it. I thought I was gonna have to like maybe make the case. I think he should absolutely be the starter for them. I think
Dilly?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
no,
As soon as
Desumba
he
in
Who's
Minnesota.
that?
Io?
Who?
Man, if you don't get
yeah,
your anyway, yeah, I think he
I
should be
think
the
Julian
starter.
Phillips should start. You're right, Nate. Julian
Yeah,
Phillips
thanks.
should start.
Thanks.
He just feels like the exact type of player that is going to plug in to Minnesota and just be like exactly what they needed. Like you really couldn't have cooked
The
up.
thing I like about Minnesota is they have everyone who's willing to do whatever role they're asked. Like
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like he
Not
knows he's
Jaden
a role
Daniels,
player. Yeah.
not the quarterback. Jaden McDaniels. If you want him to be a 20-point scorer on a certain night, he can go and do that. If you want to go have him be, an on-ball
Sick him.
lockdown guy, he can go do that. If you want to have him, be in help defense, he can go do that. If you want Rudy Gobert to actually take some shots around the rim, he's not going to do that, but he's going to
No.
play some really good defense. Um,
You need him to
Dante
hit one
DiVincenzo, he's
turnaround
a
fadeaway. He got you. Just the
like
one.
DiVincenzo, he can play the two or the one on any given night. Some nights he'll be more of a passer. Some nights, they want him to get 10 threes up. I think Julius Randle is an example of that. When Julius Randle's playing well, he is a guy who can go and score 20 or he can give you out 8 assists, where they have a lot of guys who are flexible in their role. And I think that's what makes Minnesota really dangerous on a night to night basis. And I also think it's a reason why they're able to lose to anybody on a night to night
Yeah,
basis.
that's fair enough.
If
Yeah.
the Knicks were the iteration of power of friendship, the Timberwolves are the iteration of power of a union workforce. They get the job done because they have to, not because they're all like buddy buddy hanging out. They're just like everybody lock in, do your role, and we'll get out of here in 48 minutes. All right.
I
And
do
Mike
think they
Conley's
have good
back
chemistry
somehow.
though. I do feel like there's a little bit of
They
That's
power.
not
definitely.
hey, unions don't have bad chemistry. All right, you're selling them short. They just don't have the let's go guys. No, they're just like the all right, you guys are chill. I guess we'll we'll do something after the game maybe. Mike goes, no, I have to be in bed by 10 actually, guys.
Uh, but yeah, I think it's a perfect fit for them. I can't see another player that. I mean, look, how many games are they losing this year in the conference finals? That's kind of where I'm at with the Timberwolves, but it'll be another conference finals appearance nonetheless. So
You think so?
Right.
I mean, it
Depends
all
how the
depends
Okay,
standings
on,
shake
but
out.
yeah, the
sure
West playoffs are
thing,
going to be so
buddy.
seed dependent, like matchup dependent. We'll see how it all shakes out. But I feel just as good about this Timberwolves team
Oh,
as I did the previous two.
can we briefly revisit something where you said you felt like the Thunder and the Nuggets were a tier above everyone else? I really strongly disagree with that right now.
Yeah, as time goes on, I'm starting to
I
soften
think
on the
that
stance.
you can throw, I think the Knicks belong in there right now. I think the Pistons also belong in there right
hmm
now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I think until we see J-Dub even show like a semblance of what he looked like in last year's finals or like the playoffs in general,
And
then
the
like yeah, I
Nuggets,
can't have the Thunder above like on their own tier. Like that is
the
such a
Nuggets defense is
integral part.
bad.
Nuggets defense is going through, but they also like they're just dropping like flies. Like they can never just have
Yeah,
everyone healthy. So like the fully realized version of the Nuggets, I think would probably win the title if
Hey,
they go through
Dion,
this year's
what's
playoffs
what's the
without
best ability?
that would be
Availability.
availability. You're right.
If Christian Brown could get to any point of semblance of what he was,
Yeah.
not looking like a limping
well,
beam on the
Christian Brown's
court.
not going to do that until he learns how to spell or pronounce his own last name.
Yeah, that is another problem. But
If
yeah, I
we
mean,
switch up, if we switch up to Braun right now, I'm gonna lose my mind. I just came around on saying Brown. I'm going to kill myself.
Oh my God.
I sat in the mirror
You
and was
can't say
like,
that, Mitch. It's 2026.
I sat in the mirror and I said, Christian Brown, Christian Brown, Christian Brown. And then I swear to God, somebody on Twitter today was just like, yeah, Christian Braun. And I was like, I will kill you. I will find you and I will kill you.
Christian
uh,
Brown brings out
but I
the
do think the
worst in
fully
Mitch.
realized version of the Nuggets is the best team in the league, save for like J-Dub tapping back into last year's finals run. Um, but yeah, I mean, with the way they're playing right now, like it wouldn't be fair to say that they're
I
above
mean,
those.
the best player in the NBA resides in Detroit, and his name is Duncan Robinson.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Hmm.
I hadn't contemplated that
All right,
development.
well, what's your trade,
Well,
Mr.
yeah,
Sherman?
I was gonna pick IO as well.
Well, that's not
Whoa.
creative, so give me another one.
Well, I don't
We
want to. I mean,
discussed
that's the thing.
this.
I don't want to pivot to Vooch. I mean, we already talked about that a little bit
What
with
else
Dave,
do you
and
like? Is there anything else that tickled your fancy in the slightest that you were like, this is intriguing. Maybe a little Puerto Rican point guard to this certain team in New
Mm,
York. Maybe you want to
no,
talk
because
about
I think
that at all.
honestly, I think he'll just like kind of like just be like a jolt to the arm that the Knicks need to get through the rest of the regular season and kind of like just cover McBride while he's out.
You were so
Uh,
close to saying shot in the arm, but jolt in the arm works.
but
You know
whatever,
what?
man.
Sure, man. I'll
I
take
don't
it.
even know if that makes real sense. I've never
A
gotten
Whatever.
jolt
jolted
in
in
the
the arm.
arm, like he's a 50s, like, oh, there he
I don't
goes.
know.
Anyways.
But yeah, I think that'll be more for like just kind of patching things up in the regular season. I'm sure he'll have a moment in like a first round series.
I don't know.
Um,
Defense on Jaylen Brown looked pretty good.
yeah, I don't really want to talk about that game. I just kind of erased that one from my memory, the fourth
Oh,
quarter.
okay.
But yeah, I
So,
mean that's really all I look at. I mean, like I said, I think the Cavs were a second round exit a week ago, and they still are today for different reasons, slightly, but
hey,
I don't think it
you
makes much of
could.
an impact there. And then I don't know. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of potential for like the Kobe White trade to work out because I think he's a better long term fit than Sexton was. He's got a little bit more size. He'd probably be more of like a fan favorite just being from North Carolina. I don't know. I think that always is kind of like overblown when people are like, "Oh, he's going back to his hometown," but like. I think there's something there. So I think there's a world where that works out depending on his interest in coming back and like what the market's going to be, like what kind of contract they end up giving
He's
him or whatever.
not gonna
But
come back.
oh, you don't think he comes back at all?
I mean, dude, I feel like he's at the age where he needs to have like, or he's gonna want. He's done enough to prove that he deserves a bigger role, and that role's just not gonna be there in
That's fair,
Charlotte. And
yeah, because like him versus Khan, it's yeah, so fair enough. But I think there's potential for him to be a nice upgrade over Sexton. I know
yeah,
I kind of said initially like there's not much of a difference
I
there,
fear he's a
but
Sacramento King for like $40 million a year or something.
3 million a year, Jesus.
You know
Um,
what? That would not be the most outlandish thing they've done in the past six,
That's
5 years.
probably I could totally see them offering him way above market
I think
value and just
Nate
being like,
just
"We gotta."
pictured like the perfect. He painted a picture in my mind's eye. He's already in a purple uniform next year. Oh my God,
oh
dude, you could
jeez. Oh no,
lock it
stop,
in,
stop.
lock
I
it
don't even know
in.
if he's eligible for 40 mil. We'll see what his max is, but um, looking for next season though, one move that I think will make a lot of an impact is Jaren Jackson going to Utah.
Oh wow.
Because the first 3 quarters in the game he actually played in, it was looking pretty good. I mean, I'm sure you guys
Yeah,
weren't
man.
locked into to Jazz
Yeah, actually,
Magic, but
No,
we're
I actually did watch, and I won't lie. I was pleasantly surprised that he got 4 rebounds that game.
yeah,
dude. He has
Early.
five right now through 3 quarters, not even.
Yeah, 5 rebounds.
well,
Let's fucking
Dude,
go to
no, like
this.
he has 22 points again. The Jazz are up by 7. I've been eyeballing this because I'm waiting for the fourth quarter for them to take out all of their starters after beating the
exactly.
Heat for 3 quarters.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what I wanted to transition to
The
because I
unethical
really
tank.
liked the early returns, the first 3 quarters of his debut. Just watching him play alongside Markkinen and in this revived, revamped version of Nurkic.
And they went, wait, this guy actually plays basketball?
They're like,
Fuck.
wait a minute. We have
Damn
a
it.
lead. Like, we can't do this. Whoa, bench him. Yeah, so they didn't play the entire fourth quarter. Keontae also got hurt in that game, so that kind of just like accelerated
Will
the whole.
Hardy got a call from Danny Ainge after the third quarter and said,
Exactly.
Get them out of the game!
Yeah.
Get them out of the game!"
Exactly. So I'm excited now that this is the last year that they have they're giving up picks. I'm excited to see the full-fledged version of the Jazz next year. I think they're going to be pretty good, man. I think that they will be in the playoffs next year. Given that they're actually going to play their guys, Will Hardy's going to be allowed to coach 48 minutes, 82
And
games.
they have
So
depth too.
that's what I'm saying. Like I think Jaren Jackson actually plugs in really nicely for all the shit that I've talked about JJJ in the past years. Like him with Walker Kessler and then Laurie Markkinen on the other side of him, like you couldn't put him in a much better situation as
Charles
far
Lee
as
has been ejected.
what? What is going
With
on in the Spectrum Center tonight, man?
Oh my
Oh,
What's
God.
man.
happening? Charles
There's
Lee
six
getting
minutes left. They're down by 11, and Charles Lee just got ejected for like coming halfway onto the court, I think.
I can't even
Oh,
picture
yeah.
Charles Lee getting mad. He's like seems
Wait, I
like
can't see. What did they? Oh no, they called the call. They called the. Oh my God, yeah, he just like went ballistic on them. Oh my, Brandon Miller's holding him back from like touching
what
the
is
ref.
going on
Oh,
at the
yeah.
Spectrum Center, man? Jeez.
Dude, he went like this to the ref.
Yeah.
I can't even picture Charles
Ew,
Lee getting
yeah.
mad. Like
I've
he's
never
like,
seen him show this much emotion. He's cursing them out. Brandon Miller and Grant Williams are holding them back.
oh my God. Jeez. Yeah, I can't
This
wait.
is this is a hilarious game. I really hope everyone, if you haven't watched this game, go back and watch the, all possessions of this one. Ah,
Yeah, I'll
the
be
one-
excited to check that out. What the hell is going on? But
um, but yeah, what were you just talking about that I completely got us off
just
track of?
I really
Because
like the fit of Jaren Jackson in Utah going into next season, but it's just so clear that like they're going to do everything they can to not win any more games
oh
this
yeah,
season.
I
And
really like
they are
Isaiah
not alone.
Collier.
They are
Do you
not
like
alone.
Isaiah Collier?
Do I like Isaiah Collier? Yeah, as a backup point guard,
I'm
sure.
starting to really like him.
Yeah, I
Not
mean, I
like,
really
not
liked
like
Whoa,
him at the end of
whoa,
last season.
whoa, whoa.
okay,
Hold
stop,
on.
Mitch.
Hold
Stop.
on there, Mr. Sherman. He's a
What?
bona fide superstar, all
Oh, okay,
right?
all
No, I'm just
right.
kidding. I
He's
think
not. No, I don't think he's like a perennial all-star potential player, but I think he could be a good starter depending in the situation. But I just really like having a nice little true point guard again in the league.
Mhm.
He feels like
Yeah,
he's one of
yeah.
the few, like a Trey Jones type.
it is.
He's. I mean, we were talking about with Dave. He made a good point. Trey
I
Jones
know
is like
that
one of
is.
the only like traditional like point guards we really have left in the league. Chris Paul's
He's not in the league. Well, kind
non-existing.
of
Like
in the
I
league.
don't.
Kind of.
Where
Hey,
is he?
hey,
Is
we
he in
haven't waived
Toronto?
him. We haven't waived him
He's
yet.
still on Toronto.
He's
Okay.
not officially waived. But that's because we're saving that roster spot for Elijah Martin, probably. Anyways.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, congrats on that one. But yeah, I mean, I like Isaiah Collier. I just don't know how he really fits with Keontae George long term. Like he kind of has to be
Yeah,
for
that's my. Yeah, I
him.
don't. They're
Yeah,
both obviously point guards, so it's hard.
yeah. But I just think the Jazz are set up pretty nicely for next year, but they are leading the charge, I would say, when it comes to getting the Tankathon started. Seems like it's starting earlier than ever over the last few years, and just wanted to have a quick discussion about like are there any solutions to this? I've been racking my brain and like there are some ideas, like some like pretty like just straightforward fixes, like just straight up just like finding teams and like really getting strict on that. But short of that, like I just don't know what the fix is. And I wanted to gauge like how much of a problem you guys actually think this is for the league. If we should just kind of like shrug our shoulders and say this is just kind of the reality of this league, or if like changes need to be made. Because for me, I look at it from like a fan's perspective, right? Like this is not what people want to see. Like obviously I think like Utah Jazz fans understand the bigger picture of like okay, like we're going for Darren Peterson, like this is how we actually compete. But I just don't think it's good for the league. The integrity of the league when you talk about like now that the Super Bowl's over and like the casual fan is shifting their attention towards basketball, this is not good for the league and I just don't know what we do save for like Adam Silver just getting stricter about like finding teams. Like I just don't. Do you guys have any solutions, or do you just like not really care and you just kind of accepted the
Well,
reality of it?
like I saw one thing where it's like you get analytical with it and you make like a point system where if you get like a
No,
certain
I hate all
like
those
that.
ideas of like, oh,
I
once we
I
get to March 1st, like wins actually count as losses.
well,
And
that's
no,
what I was gonna say.
that
Like,
doesn't make sense.
well, no, I was gonna say that I think a lot of that's stupid and you're just gonna
Yeah,
confuse the casual fan and instead
exactly.
of making people want to tune into basketball, you're gonna just confuse them even more. They're gonna be like, ah, I can't
Yeah,
deal
I
with
also
all
think
the
I also
numbers.
think it's just like a misguided solution because players don't tank, right? Like this is coaches' decisions, front office decisions that are leading to teams tanking. Like Jaren Jackson is not taking himself out of the game in the fourth quarter to lose these games. So
Like,
like
yeah, you're not putting in let's say. who's who on the Jazz can I give an example? I don't want to insult a good player. Okay, like when you're going to play Cody Williams over Jaren Jackson Jr., it's like you're not like Cody Williams isn't actively trying to be like he just sucks at basketball. So it's more of like these players are still trying, but they're still very obviously making the decisions that put them in a position to lose the game.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cody Williams.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you had to be the scapegoat there. But yeah, I mean, like, it's not like we turn it into like, oh yeah, wins after a certain date count towards a lot of whatever. Because for one, players are not motivated by lottery odds. Like they're not really playing hard for their replacement in these situations, and they're not the ones deciding to tank. So I don't really think that makes sense. I think it has to just come down to Adam Silver giving a shit and being like, hey, like if you're gonna bench your guys, like there's gonna be like some serious penalties involved.
I would like to play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
So here, this is my idea to pitch to fix it.
Okay.
First, before I get into the problem is with the culture and not with the actual teams. Every team that misses the playoffs, I'm talking straight 10 outside of the play-in, flat odds.
Ooh.
Number 12 no longer has the more ping pong balls.
Mm.
Everybody in the bottom feeder, guess what? You have just as much chance to get Darren Peterson as the guy who won 7 less games than you and the guy that won 5 more games than you.
Mm.
You're less incentivized at game 40 to pull everybody than you are at game 74. It's not a perfect fix because what you basically do then is you say teams that are at that like in between mark to just abandon all hope of making the playoffs and just say, well, fuck it. If we have the flat odds anyway, might as well.
Yeah, you might as
But
well
what
be
it
11 rather than yeah.
but what it does do is it enforces teams who were going to aim for 10 wins to be like, well, shit, we could put butts in seats more if we win 30 games than we do against 22, right?
Mm. Yeah, that would
My
sure up the bottom, but yeah, you're probably right. It does like disincentivize making the plan, I guess.
my devil's advocacy though is as a basketball culture, we have kind of started a dialogue where it's like the worst place you could be is in the middle in general. We tend to say championship or bust, and that's the average fan. I've just to put it into some perspective, I've had conversations with people that I work with or people that I've like at coffee shops that don't watch the NBA that I'm trying to elevate or pitch into why it's a good sport to watch. And they say, well, the team that wins the championship, what's the point for everybody else? And it's like, well, that's a good question. Some teams are okay with just meddling. Some teams are okay with being fun and scrappy and make the playoffs. But to the average fan, for the amount of hate that we spew at a team for just not getting there, not pushing over the finish line when not every year you can win the championship, it kind of creates this like smog over the general consensus where the average person watches the NBA and goes, "Well, why would I care if OKC's just going to win the next 5 championships?" Everything has to fall right for you to win a championship. That's the beauty of it. But you can't sell that to somebody who's convinced that these teams are giving up already because they have no chance to beat OKC in the 7 game series. So
Yeah.
why bother? Why not just get better? Like we've already given up. Let's like throw in the towel. So if you flatten the odds, you kind of incentivize teams to just say, well, let's not just, throw everything away this season. We might incentivize people getting and watching our games more money. I think the general idea is that fans and the general non like pure hooper watcher have just kind of lost so much interest in the game of this team's competitive, but they're not going to win the championship. So why should I care? Example: 2019 Raptors gain a huge influx of following.
Hmm.
Then they proceed to win 30 games. A lot of people went, well, shit. Why would I stick with it? A lot of plastic fans and a lot of fan bases. Why would I stick here and watch this team if they're not going to win the championship again? That sucks. That sucks to have a mentality, but that is like a large portion of the people that watch basketball. So
Yeah.
you got to kind of fix the stigma behind it before you talk about how to eliminate teams tanking because Utah is a great example because Utah fans don't have any expectations. Right now, they've lived through Cody Williams minutes, all right? They've seen what greener pastures are when you're the better Williams brother. So why should I sit there and watch 48 minutes when I know that my favorite player is only going to play 22 minutes? You flatten the odds, maybe Markkinen plays 39 instead of 23, right? Like that's kind of the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do
I
I
think
do like that solution. I think you would just kind of like shift which teams are tanking because like a team like well the Bulls are destined for 39 wins regardless. But like a team in the position of the Bulls like you have way more incentive to be the 11 seed all of a sudden than the 10 seed. So then you kind of just like shift like who is tanking. So I like the idea though. That is definitely one of the better ideas I've heard for sure. Because like
I just
I hate most of the ideas people come up with about like
it's
reversing the standings and things like that. Like it doesn't make sense.
it's just so hard to actually come up with a real tangible solution. And I fear that's just the biggest issue is that there isn't one. It's kind of like the All-Star game where there's just no real clear solution in sight.
That one I think.
As of 19 minutes ago, Curry will not be playing in the All-Star game. He is
Oh,
resting his knee through the break.
damn.
So now there are two replacement slots potentially opening up.
Well, they already said Şengün's getting one and Kawhi.
Can't wait. Can't wait for All-Star weekend, man. We're gonna have an injured Damian Lillard in the three-point contest. Brandon
All
Ingram
mid
Can
gonna
we
be in the
talk
All-Star
about that
game.
for a second? Like what in the actual hell is the
If you're
stat?
if you're good enough to take 30 shots from beyond the arc, you're good enough to do it in a fucking game, buddy. Get out there.
So I guess, yeah, I guess he's further along enough in his recovery to like he can run from 3-point rack to 3-point rack within a minute, I guess. So I don't know. I thought that one was crazy. I
What
think it just
happens if
goes to
Damian
show.
Lillard injures himself during the 3-point contest?
Jeez, do I even put that into the ether?
Because it's stupid to even compete in it, and I think he's an idiot for doing it.
Yeah, I don't love it. I mean, I couldn't be less excited about All-Star Weekend, which is such a shame. But on that negative note, I think that's probably where we're at this one. Thanks everybody for listening. Make sure to subscribe to the pod. Check us out on all socials at 2for1hoops. We'll be back with another episode this weekend. But until then, hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Dion's a really mean rocket raccoon.